Hi students, in today's session we are going to study about the chapter number 2, that is nutrition in animals. Let us start with introduction. In the chapter first, previously we have seen that the nutrition in plants, that means how the plants get nutrition and what are the different modes of nutrition in the plants. Just like that, in this chapter we will learn about the nutrition in animals. That means how the animals get their nutrients and what are the different modes of animal nutrition. But before going to further discussion about this chapter, first I want to tell you about the definition of nutrition once again. See, the process of taking food and its utilization in the body for growth and development is called as nutrition. So animals or the human beings can eat food and from that food they get the energy. Okay, so the question is arise that the food which we eat that will go in our body. So the actually what happens to that food in our body and how does we get the energy from this food? So you will find answers of these all the questions in this chapter. The next topic is different modes of animal nutrition. We have studied about that animals and humans can derive their nutrition by the heterotrophic mode. That means they can depend upon others for their food requirement. So there are four types of heterotrophic nutrition, that is holozoic nutrition, parasitic nutrition, saprophytic nutrition and symbiotic nutrition. Let us study about this one by one in our next slides. The next one is the holozoic nutrition. This type of nutrition is seen in the humans and commonly found in the animals. So, in this type of nutrition, organisms can take their food whether in the form of solid or liquid or as whole. So, this food going on certain series of chemical reactions inside the body of animal, and from that chemical reaction, the energy is released, which is used to utilize, which is used for the different activities of animals or the humans. So, the holozoic animals can be of herbivorous, that means they can eat the plant, maybe carnivorous, that means the animals eating, that is they can eat the animals, and the omnivorous, that means they can eat both plants or animals as a food. So this is all about the holozoic nutrition. The next one is the parasitic nutrition. In this type of nutrition, animals can get their nutrient from the animals or plants. Okay, so that animals and plants are called as host. This kind of relationship between the parasite and the host is seen in the parasitic nutrition, where parasite gets the benefits but host is harmed, which is known as parasitism. The example for this is mosquito. It is the example for the human parasite because these mosquitoes can feed on the human blood. The next one is the saprophytic nutrition. See, saprophytic nutrition means in this mode of nutrition, organisms can get their nutrition from the dead organic matter. So, the examples for this are millipedes, woodlice and dung flies. They can derive their nutrients from the dead organic matter, and such kind of organisms are called as detritivores. The next one is the symbiotic nutrition. See, in this kind of nutrition, two animals are there which can live in close contact with each other, and they can interact between them in such a manner that either both get the benefit from this relationship, or one of them is benefit, or none of them is harm from this association. Okay, the example for the symbiotic nutrition is, see, it is the mutualism. That means either both get the benefit or none of them harm. That is, it is the mutualism or the mutual relationship. So it is the example for it, association between the remora and shark. These two are the fish, the remora fish and the shark fish. See, the remora fish, it is the marine fish which is usually found in the warmer part of the oceans. So that remora fish can cling onto the body of the shark and get their nutrients from the places where the shark moves around. Okay, so this is the best example for this symbiotic nutrition. There are also the different organisms, they have the different way of food taking process. That means bees and hunting birds, they can suck the nectar of plants. Infants of humans and animals, that is they can feed on mother's milk. Snakes, that is python, they can swallow the animals. Some of the aquatic animals, they can filter tiny food material floating nearby and feed upon them. So these all are the different ways of taking food, or these are all are the different modes of the nutrition in the animals. Okay. The next one is the holozoic nutrition in animals. See, the holozoic nutrition occurs in the animals in the 5 steps, namely ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. So first, we have to learn about the ingestion. See, ingestion, it is the process of taking food through the mouth by humans or animals. Okay, that process is known as ingestion. That is taking of food particles into our body. So in this process, it may be vary from organism to organism, because most of the organism take food by various ways. This is about ingestion. Next one is the digestion. Digestion, it is the process in which the complex compound of food can be converted into the simpler form. It is also differ in the different animals. Okay. So the breakdown of food into the simpler form is called as digestion. The next one is the absorption. Absorption means the process in which the nutrient from the digested food. First, we can take food in the process of ingestion. That food gets breakdown into the simpler form in the process of digestion. Now, after digestion, we get the simpler forms. That is the process in which nutrients from this digested food can pass to the blood and transport to the other part of our body, which is known as absorption. Now, after absorption, the process occurs assimilation. Assimilation means the process of utilizing this absorbed nutrient in the living tissue. In the absorption process, we can absorb the food nutrients. Okay. Now, after absorbing these food nutrients, the assimilation process occurs. That means that absorbed nutrients get utilized in our living tissue in the process of assimilation. After the assimilation, the process is their egestion. The egestion, it is the process in which the undigested food or the waste material, during this digestion process, the undigested food or the waste material can be removed from our body. This process is called as egestion. So, in these 5 steps, the animals can take their nutrition. Before going to study the process of nutrition in the human beings and other higher animals, you should know the process of nutrition in the simplest living creature on the earth, that is amoeba. So, first, nutrition in the amoeba. See, amoeba, it is the microscopic organism, single cell organism, which is irregular in shape, found in the places such as pond water. It has the cell membrane. See in that figure, it has cell membrane, dense nucleus and many small bubble-like vacuoles in its cytoplasm. It can constantly changes its shape and position. It possesses the organ that is pseudopodia. What is pseudopodia? It pushes out one or more finger-like projection. These are also called as pulse feet. So they can use this for the movement and taking of food. So pseudopodia, it is the organ by which it can move from one place to another and take some of the food. So this, it pushes out pseudopodia around the food particles. See, this amoeba feeds on the bacteria, some of the microscopic plants like the diatoms, minute algae, and some of the microscopic animals like the protozoa, nematodes, and even on the dead organic matter. So nutrition in amoeba, it is also the holozoic. Okay, so let us study about the mechanism of nutrition in the amoeba. How the amoeba can take their nutrients. See, whenever an amoeba comes in contact with any prey or the food particle, at that time it can surround that food by using their pseudopodia. Okay, by using their pseudopodia, that means they can pushes out their pseudopodia around that food particle and engulf that food particle. By engulfing that food particle, that food becomes trapped into the food vacuole. Okay, now that in the food vacuole, the digested juices are secreted, and that juices can act on that food and break down that food into the simpler one substances. This process is known as digestion. Now, finally, that digested food is absorbed in the cytoplasm. Okay, and these the absorbed substances are used for the growth, maintenance and multiplication of that amoeba. The rest of the food, that is which is undigested food material, is removed from the body by the temporary vacuole. Okay, it removed from the body by temporary vacuole. So this kind of mode of nutrition in amoeba, it is also known as the phagocytosis. That means this process is known as phagocytosis. Phago means to engulf. By engulfing the prey or the food particles, they can take their food inside their body, and some of the reactions are taking place over there with the help of digestive juices. That food can be broken down into the simple substances, get absorbed with nutrients, and the undigested food gets expelled out by the vacuole from their body. In this way, amoeba can derive their nutrition from the from the any prey or the food particle which is surrounded over there. Just like amoeba, there occurs nutrition in the hydra, in frog, in other organisms. In case of frog, frog has the sticky tongue which is attached to the lower jaw and folded in the mouth. So it can trap the prey with the help of tongue, and as that prey comes nearer, the frog can pull it inside the mouth by the tongue. And that frog has well developed digestive system which has digestive juices which act on that prey. After that food going into the body, certain digestive juices helps in the absorption of digested food by the cavity walls, and then that food is get assimilated into the cells of that body of frog. So in this way, frog can take also nutrients by taking the prey with the help of tongue. In case of other organisms, the nutrition occurs like in case of spider, it has a web. So it can use that web in which insect or prey get trapped. By secreting certain digestive juices, entangle that insect can be digested and ingest these digestive juices in the body of prey. In case of Paramecium, it has finger-like structure called cilia develop on their body. So these cilia can capture the food. In case of butterfly, the nutrition is by sucking the nectar from the flower by using the proboscis. That is, the proboscis means the tube-like structure which is attached to the mouth. Mosquitoes can also use this proboscis to suck up the blood of animals and humans. So in this way they can take their nutrients. In case of hydra, hydra it is the multicellular organism. It can engulf organism by using the finger-like projection called the tentacles which are present around the mouth. So at the time of feeding, hydra can extend its body and tentacles to the length of 4 to 5 times of the length of their body. So in this way they can catch the prey that catch prey is then killed and passed into the mouth and the mouth part of hydra, which is known as hypostome. That mouth part of hydra is known as hypostome. So after food going into the body, certain digestive juices are there which can break down that juices and helps in the absorption for the digested food by the cavity walls, and then food is then assimilated into the body of the cell, so cells of the body. Now the next one is the nutrition in ruminants. Here we have to learn how the ruminants can take their nutrients or how they can derive their nutrition. See, all of you have seen cow or the buffalo chewing continuously even when they are not eating. Here we have take the example of ruminants, that is cow. So whenever that cow or the buffalo can eat the fodder, that fodder can store into the part of the stomach. After eating, that fodder can store into the part of stomach. That part of stomach is known as rumen. In the rumen, this food is partially digested and stored as curd. Curd means the meaning of curd means the partially digested food. It is not fully digested. So it can store in the form of curd, and these animals have the capacity to bring this curd back into their mouth for continuing the chewing process. Okay? So the continuation of chewing of that food material which is partially digested into their mouth, this process is called as rumination. See, fodder, that means the grass. That grass contains cellulose, which is really complex substance. So this cellulose is eaten by these animals like cows, goes into their stomach, that is the part of stomach rumen, where that cellulose is partially digested with the help of certain bacteria, because cellulose, it is the complex substance. So most of the other animals, that means other than ruminants, the animals which are other than ruminants cannot digest that cellulose, or even human also, they cannot digest the cellulose, because the breakdown of cellulose is occur with the help of certain bacteria, and that bacteria are only present in the ruminants, not in the other animals or not in the humans. So that partially food, that is curd, is again bring back into their mouth for continuing chewing. That process is known as rumination, and the animals which can chew this curd, that animals are known as ruminants. So the stomach of these ruminants has 4 chambers, that is rumen, reticulum, omasum and abomasum. So these are the 4 chambers of their stomach, and that 4 chambers are called as compound stomach. So whenever the food is swallowed by the ruminants, okay, they can first enter into the biggest chamber, that is rumen. Okay, here in the rumen, the grinding of food takes place. First, the food which they eat grinds up in the rumen part of stomach. Then after grinding, this food moves into the another chamber of stomach, that is reticulum. From reticulum, it is returned into the mouth, again to be broken into the small pieces. So from reticulum, it is again enter into the mouth and converted into the soft pulp, that is called as curd, that is which is partially digested. Okay. Now it is now chewed thoroughly in the mouth. Afterwards, and that chewing process is also known as rumination. This I have already told you. So afterwards, during that rumination, that curd get mixed with the saliva in the mouth, and that food becomes a semi-liquid paste type in mouth. Then after forming that semi-liquid paste, that paste is pushed directly into the third chamber, that is omasum, and then from omasum to the last chamber, that is fourth chamber, known as abomasum. So in this last chamber, that is fourth chamber, these digestive juices mixed with the semi-liquid curd, the liquid semi-liquid paste which is formed in the in the mouth, that semi-liquid curd of the paste is mixed with the digestive juices which are secreted by the fourth chamber, that is abomasum. These juices can break down this food into the simpler form. So the semi-digested food is now entered. There in this fourth chamber, this food becomes semi-digested. Okay. So that semi-digested food is now entered into the small intestine. Okay. And from the small intestine, the remaining of the process of digestion continues. All of you know that. Why the all of you also have question arise that why the ruminants develop the habit of chewing curd. Okay. So we also know that animals like cow, buffalo, sheep, deer, they are herbivorous. Okay. So their food, that is fodder, is rich in the cellulose. Cellulose is a complex sugar and which is very difficult to digest. Hence, they first chew the curd to break that cellulose into the simpler form. And after forming this food into the simpler form, the three chambers in the stomach of ruminants can help the complete digestion of cellulose. Now, that complete digestion of cellulose occurs by using the certain bacteria. The bacteria are only present inside the ruminant animals only, not in the human or not in the animals. This is all about the nutrition in the ruminants. Thank you.